How y'all doing? It's for me, always strong, doing what I'm supposed to be doing, staying on the clear path. So this morning, right, I want to talk about. I do a lot of work with young boys, because they're the future. So dealing with like character development, manhood development, dealing with culture, stuff like that. Things that are essential for, young minds to thrive and grow, towards, what they're destined to be. Young boys are destined to be men. Not just, average, but they need to be powerful men in this day and time. Like, our next generation need to be a force to be reckoned with if we're ever going to change the direction of our current state as a people. We instill in them what they need so they can be able to move forward, right? So I want to talk about the importance of a character model that isn't that is consistent, that holds integrity, that has honor, that isn't confusing or viewed to be hypocritical or have hypocrisy, right? So when we look at young men today, they're modeling what they're viewing the most, right? So whatever you view the most is what you model and you take on. That becomes your description or your understanding of what manhood is. It becomes your description and your understanding of what identity is, because image is a powerful thing. In my book, Battle Surgery, The Male's Transformation Towards Manhood, right? I speak about that. I speak about, like how, young minds develop and grow, and I base it off of, like when I was growing up, the men that were around me that was viewed as being powerful or respected, were the ones that was out in the streets doing what they were doing. They didn't really highlight, men that work 9 to 5s and things like that. So a lot of times, we had a confused comparisons. I had my father that worked every day of his life, never had a record, never been locked up, but the environment that we lived in, because not only did the household play a major part in developing young minds, but the community which you reside in, right, that the household is in, is a reinforcement effort, right? And if you don't have people around you that are reinforcing what you're teaching, right, it goes back to the saying I always say, I'll put a brick on a house just for somebody to take 2 off. You can never get the foundation built, right? Because there's a lot of confusion going on, right? So when we're looking at, image, when we're looking at, when we're looking at what is most consistently viewed, right, by young minds, if they are viewing, people that are upright, doing right, disciplined, structured, things like that, that becomes their reality, right? But it's not just for young minds, it's for minds, period, right? Because the work that I do, right? So I run for each place that I go to. I usually have, a group of people, all over the city. I got multiple different groups that I be running and doing, right? And the crazy thing is, I look at it like this, right? These groups, right? I get them twice a week, right? Hour and a half, twice a week, for each place that I go to. So I run close to like 8 groups a week, sometimes. Right now I'm at like almost probably 6 right now. So the reality is that the hour and a half twice a week, that's 3 hours out of the week that I get these people, right? For 8 to 10 weeks. And in that time frame, right, you can see a shift in who they are, right? And that's small compared to the rest of the time. There's used at other places, right? These people transform, they change their thoughts, their families start to see it. And this is only 3 hours out of a week. Do the math, right? And my thing is, imagine, that's your reality, right? That you spend more time towards positivity, seeking answers, looking for solutions, healing, growing, things like that. You know, you can transform yourself, right? It's what you invest in the most that grows the most, right? But the reality is a lot of our young people, you know, they're invested in all the wrong things. When they turn on television, when they look at social media, you know, get on TikTok, you know, when they get on YouTube, you know, you know, who their friends are, what they're around, you know, the music they listen to. All of these things play a factor, I mean, in what's being downloaded into their mind that is speaking what is reality to them. So if these things are reality to you, right, that's what you run to. That's what you gravitate to because that's what you know, right? It isn't until you know different that you do different. That's Maya Angelou, right? It's a power, right? It's power and influence, right? When we have too many people that are immature, that are in positions of influence, that are creating a narrative that's destroying the outlook of young minds, right? And then to top that, right, one of the problems is that we have young minds that they're growing up in broken homes, you know? So they got a mom that is doing the best she can, working 2 jobs to try to take care of bills, or you got a mom that is just stressed out because of all the responsibilities she do have. I mean, so she always ripping and running. She's barely even there because she don't even know how to parent, right? Because she's still a child herself, right? All of this stuff plays a factor in the undevelopment of the next generation. The undevelopment, I mean, of our people, of our children, right? So we have to correct this. And the only way to correct it is we have to put ourselves in the spaces where we can gain the insight, the knowledge, the guidance, and the support that's going to help us grow to be the people, I mean, that we're supposed to be. Until then, right, it's going to be a struggle. To then, I mean, it's going to be, you know, uneven, unbalanced, you know. And that's one of the issues, I mean, that I see that's constantly going on, you know, when I look at our people. That we are in these places, in these states where we have no structure. We have no guidance. We're winging it. We're trying to figure out things, I mean, on the whim. And we wonder why we're failing because we're not surrounding ourselves around the right things that ensure us and give us the things that we need so we can transform and we can grow. You know, I've been doing this work for a long time. You know, and the work that I've been doing has been geared towards, you know, social development, you know. But my development came about because I was around authentic men that poured into me, right? And I can't keep not speaking so much about that, right? Because it's a reality, right? So when we're looking at our next generation, right, you know, what are they spending their most time doing? What is occupying their minds the most? Because that's what they're going to grow into, right? Are they spending enough time around authentic men that are teaching them about what they're going to grow into? Or are they watching too many images of immature males that are parading themselves as men and being confused about the narrative or the reality of what's really going on? So what I do is I try to provide that service, you know? And you provide that service by being authentic in who you are, right? But also being present and making the time. You know, we hold camps, you know, we do boys groups and stuff like that. Everything is based around warriorhood. Everything is based around, you know, teaching black boys about the importance of what it is to be black, to be African, right? But also teaching them by being the example, right? Because they can listen to whatever we have to say, but it's what they see the most on a consistent basis that teaches them about what is relevant or what's real, right? And we got to be able to take away hypocrisy, right? Because you look at most parents, right? You know, you figuring out what it is to be a parent, so you don't do everything right. But in your child mind, they're downloading this, right? In their mind, I mean, my mother tells me not to do this, but they do it. In their mind, they're looking at you as a hypocrite. They might not verbalize it, but that's what they're looking at, you know? So they lose certain respect because it's like, you know, or they say, I can't wait till I'm old enough to do what I want to do. because that's what my mom does. That's what my dad does. You know, so we need to change the narrative by changing the character standard. So the character standard, I mean, is honor, integrity, accountability, responsibility, consistency, right? If these are the character standards, right, for the men and women that are around our children, then that's what they're going to look towards emulating and gravitating towards. But if every time they look around, I mean, they always see drama, argument, pettiness, lying, manipulation. You feel what I'm saying? Because they pick up on that. Children are geniuses, right? So you can't sit there and think that your child doesn't see the dysfunction, I mean, that you live every day. They watch you. You are their superhero. You're the person that gave them life. So if they're going to look towards you for guidance, right? And when it's confusing, right? A lot of our children, they move on and they start to pay attention to other people, right? That they think that they got it figured out. But they mistake it as, oh, this person, I mean, is get a lot of likes. People are following them. I mean, they got money. They got material things. So in their mind, they associate that with correct movement. So now they adopt these behaviors and these antics, and then they become these people, because children are trying to figure out who they are. They're coming in this world. They're trying to seek, who am I supposed to be? And as parents, right, and as community members, we're supposed to be guiding them towards what is needed, I mean, and what they have the potential to grow into. But if we're too caught up with the things that we're struggling with in our own personal life, right, we may neglect them, not intentionally, right, but it's because of what we're dealing with. And that's why it's important to have community. That's why it's important, I mean, to have people to work with you in your process of rearing your children towards greatness. But we have to get away from our own personal petty indifferences. We don't want to be around community. We make excuses because we don't want to change. We don't want to grow. We don't want to let go of the things that we know we need to let go of, or we don't want to be exposed for the things that we're doing that we need to let go of because we think it diminishes us or tears us down. But community is a space, I mean, that gives us support, guidance, understanding, right? Real community isn't judgmental. They're proactive. So if you come to me and you're going through something, right, that you need to work on as a, character-wise, or if you're going through something in life that you need to overcome, I mean, community comes in and finds what is needed to be able to help that person to grow and thrive, right? But that person has to be willing. A lot of people aren't willing. Then we come across people, I mean, that hide and pretend, but gather a little information from studying, right? And they use that as justifications for why they are the way they are, right? And they still, now you become that hypocrite. You become that person that people view as, you sound good, I mean, but soon as things get rough or things go left, I mean, your true colors come out, right? And now people don't even respect what it is to be conscious or to be African or to be black, right? And it upsets me because I live this 365, 24/7. I have no days off. I cannot not be Adisa. I cannot not be Pan-African. I cannot not have the best interests of our people. Even when dealing with some of our people that are struggling with difficult things, right? I still have to show up in a meiotic way. I have to, because we can't say that this stuff works for us when things are good, but as soon as things go bad, we throw all of our culture, all of our traditions, all of our principles out the window. How is that assisting us or helping us in our growth and development or our pursuits towards what we're trying to gain and develop? It's going to take work, and sometimes, when we look at our people, it becomes heartaching, and it becomes hard for us to be able to reach them, right? But this is a part of the work. You have a people, I mean, that have been oppressed for over 400 years, and we come in as a generation on the brink of whatever, I mean, it was left that wasn't fixed. And we live in a society and we live in a country that doesn't want to remember the wrong that they done. So they're trying to wipe it away. But by wiping it away, we lose the understanding of why we are in the conditions we are as a people. So we become even more lost. Our history speaks to our present. And most of us want to run from our history because we look at it as a blatant stain because of what was done to us as a people. But I look at it as the power, the strength, and the struggle that we endured to overcome injustices that was plagued on us. Our people are powerful. How we look at things is how we deal with things. Right? So many people want to move away from what has happened to us because they want to pretend like it's over. But we're still dealing with the ripple effect, because when you look out on society, you see the current state of us as a people. It's not good. But we can't look at ourselves from an individual standpoint only and say, well, that's not me because I'm doing this and doing that. But when you look at the state of us as a people, right, we are not in a good space. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, or financially. We are not in a good space. They want us to separate and not recognize the importance of fighting for each other. And fighting for each other is not we fighting against Europeans or we fighting against people oppressing us. That's not the only thing. We're fighting to help recenter, rebalance us as a people. Reculturalize us as a people, re-Africanize us as a people, getting back to our roots so we can essentially be who we are and not running from our identity, trying to adopt an alien identity, right, that makes us feel indifferent about ourselves in the deep recesses of our mind. Because we will never be accepted by someone else that doesn't look like us. Because they're not a part of our cultural makeup. They're not a part of what we come from as a people. But as always, right, I digress. The work is essential. We got to continue to keep doing it. Stay focused, continue to keep growing. And as always, I come to you with great love and respect and only ask for a return. Peace, people.